All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. So today we have two things to talk about. First thing, Aljamain Sterling, he makes a tweet. I guess he's trying to see what the fans think of his the list of names he calls out here, and just to see which matchup they would prefer. And obviously, I have my opinion, but yeah, we'll read this tweet here. So he writes, Arnold Allen, Brian Ortega, Lerone Murphy, anyone ready to go? I'm ready for a test to follow my dreams. Let's do this. And people are saying, well, these are all ahead of you and you just lost, blah, 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 in the rankings. And I'm like, okay, that is true. But he went tooth and nail with Mobsar, and everyone knows Mobsar is at the top of the division. Whether he gets finishes or not, Mobsar has an immense amount of skill, and he's definitely top 5, if not championship skill level. So for Aljamain to go toe-to-toe with him in their whole fight, and some people were even saying that he won, his stock definitely didn't drop from that loss, and I feel like he does have the right to call out names ahead of him. And that's the thing. It's not like he's calling out like top 5 or anything. Arnold Allen's at number 6, Brian Ortega's at number 7, and Lerone's number 8. They're all just right ahead of him. You know what I mean? So it's not like these callouts are unrealistic. And like I said, I have my opinion. I believe that out of all those names he called out, I feel like Brian Ortega would be the best matchup because not everyone, but a lot of people say that, Aljamain Sterling, he's boring, he has a boring style, blah, blah, blah. But you can't tell me watching him versus Movsar was boring. That was probably one of the highest level grappling fights that we've ever seen in the featherweight division. And to me, obviously Aljamain, he's going to have to fight a striker in the future at 145 because he fought Calvin Kattar, but I mean, he just drowned him basically, you know what I mean? So that wasn't really competitive in a sense. So we didn't really need to see how good Aljamain's striking is because that's the thing. Once you get to the top 5, a lot of these guys are going to be able to have the takedown defense, and he's going to have to truly just mono strike and see where he is at with his skill set there. But until then, I would really like to see him versus Brian Ortega, another high-level grappling fight, and I just can't wait to see the jiu-jitsu transitions and the wrestling, and just I wonder if either one of them can get a submission, because that's the thing. I always say it's very easy to be a fan of the knockout artists and all that, but for grappling, if you can go get finishes with submissions or even a ground and pound TKO, I'm all for that as well. You know what I mean? And I'm sure the casuals will hop on the hype train if Aljamain submits Brian Ortega, because Brian Ortega, he may not be the best striker in the world, but his grappling is very, very, very high level, especially for the featherweight division. And yeah, to me that makes sense. And then with Arnold Allen and Lerone Murphy, I feel like that's an easy matchup to do in the UK. Ideally, obviously, but if not, you can do that anywhere. I don't know if they want to do that matchup necessarily, but like I said, if you do that in the UK, it's a no-brainer, and then you can get the UK behind their countrymen and see which one of them has the ability to pass the other and go on for a title shot. So whoever would win would get the backing of the country, ideally, and get a lot of hype, especially build it up in the UK, because the UK, I know Tom Aspinall's right there, but it'd be nice to see another contender and run for a championship, because the UK, I feel like MMA is really big in the UK, and yeah, I would just like a bit more noise from that country. That's just my humble opinion. And yeah, and then considering that people are saying that basically Movsar Evloev and Aaron Pico is not official, but it's damn near going to be announced, I feel like Gene Silva fighting Diego Lopez isn't far off from reality anymore, because if unranked Aaron Pico can get a fight with Movsar Evloev, then of course Gene Silva can get a fight with Diego Lopez. And I want them to throw Gene Silva to the wolves, not in a bad way, but obviously we know how good Gene Silva is, and his performances speak for that, but I just want to see if he can continue that aggression and that streak of just finishes at the highest level in the top 5. Because if he can do that in the top 5, then 100% he gets a title shot next. Because if you look at all these matchups, let's say Aljamain Sterling submits Brian Ortega. Obviously he's up there, but I don't think that's in a title shot worthy, especially because Brian Ortega is only ranked 6 or 7, sorry. And then if Movsar, chances are it's going to be a decision against Aaron Pico. I don't think they want Movsar Evloev anywhere near the title shot, because if you look at Movsar's resume, he could easily get a title shot, and Volk was even calling for that, but the UFC do not want him to be their champion for whatever reason. Obviously, the easiest assumption would be that he's just not a finisher. So it makes sense, and he's not that big of a personality either. So casuals don't really know who he is yet. But yeah, if you get Gene Silva against Diego Lopez, to me that's a no-brainer, because obviously you can slow roll Gene Silva and give him, like, you know, like I said, one of these lower top 5 guys like Arnold Allen at number 6. Well, not top 5, but still. Oh wait, what the? Yair Rodriguez and Mousar are both number 4. What? That doesn't make any sense. But yeah, you can give Gene Silva like just outside the top 5 and then give him a top 5 in the title shot. But I really feel like they want to steamroll Gene Silva up to the top, because out of that whole division, he probably has the most personality and the craziest style. And I feel like he's easily sellable to the casual fans. And yeah, I'd like to see that, because you look at welterweight, it's getting really exciting, and especially a lot of these rumor matchups that are going to be made soon. You know, I'd like the same with 45, because obviously 45 has always been stacked and it's always been one of the top divisions. But I like to see the ball rolling on a lot of these matchups, because it's one thing to have all these rumors and all that, but I'd like to see official additions to these pay-per-view cards, because especially like the Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway one, it needs help. So if you can get one of these matchups, put them on there, that would be really, 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 really good. And yeah. No, in other news, so let's see here. Yeah, so John Jones, basically, he says that he just had a seminar in Thailand, and it's the biggest one apparently. You know, I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. And then he says, half the crowd flew in from the UK. How wild is that? Massive shout out to my guy Tom for all the free promo. I couldn't have done it without you. Obviously, it's, you know, sarcasm. Well, not sarcasm, but he's patronizing Tom, right? And seriously, though, I'm beyond grateful for this brand new UK following. You guys have showed up with so much love and energy, and I felt every bit of it. Obviously, another dig at Tom, because, I mean, if you're a UK fan, how are you siding with John Jones in this kind of thing versus Tom Aspinall? It makes no sense. I mean, obviously there could be some people, because people love John Jones before Tom Aspinall even existed in the UFC. So, you know, it is what it is. They could be from the UK, but I feel like most of this is just trying to get a rise out of Tom. And then he says, let's keep this momentum going. Make sure to sign that petition today. We're pushing 200K. How exciting. So that's the thing. It's like passive aggressive, like, digs at the fans. It's like, come on, man. Like, I get he's trying to play it up and all that, but I don't know. It's just, you know, John Jones took that petition very personal, and just his little sassy remarks on Twitter. It's like, I don't know, man. It's just, like I said, for a while now, it's just painful at this point. It's just painful. And then Tom Aspinall, my pleasure, John. Told you I'm not an asshole. Glad you're enjoying retirement. Thumbs up with the duck emoji. So people are like, yeah, Tom got him. But at this point, I'm just like, Tom, you really need to go below the belt, man. Like, there's been no movement on this fight. I feel like Tom Aspinall really needs to start getting personal. And I know it's, you know, I'm not that guy. I'm a good guy, man. Blah, blah, blah. But like, you got to get something rumbling, because it's just this nice guy bullshit. It's not going to get you anywhere in this sport, especially trying to get John Jones, because John Jones is being so elusive right now. He's not committing to anything. So I just feel like his last resort, because that's the thing. We're at the 11th hour. If they're not going to book it at Madison Square Garden, I'm pretty sure they have one in November. They're not going to book it at all. So I feel like Tom really needs to go crazy here, because obviously if John Jones retires, he's just going to fight Cyril Gane, but I don't know. I feel like Tom Aspinall is probably going to regret not going harder for this fight. Because obviously, in every interview, he's always asked about it. And he's always like, yeah, I'd love to fight him. I'd love to fight him. I would just like to see Tom Aspinall just get a little more, like, amped up and just, like I said, go below the belt. Have a little personal dig. Like, you know, you have a whole catalog of all this bullshit that John Jones has done. Like, all these little, like, not childish, but, like, lighthearted comments. It's not going to get you anywhere, man. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know, I get this as a sport, but with John Jones, there's so much ammunition on him. Like, you don't even have to go that personal. It's just bring up something he's done in his past and be like, oh yeah, I'm sure you'd rather do this than that. Or, you know what I mean? Like, bring up his failed tests and all this shit. Like, go for that. You know what I mean? I don't know if he wants to go like, you know, if you've seen the videos, really deep, but I don't know. At least try something. You know what I mean? Try something that actually piss him off, because this is just not going to get you anywhere. Like I said, it's just not working. And yeah, if not, then just completely move on and go fight Cyril Gane. It is what it is. I just feel like Tom Aspinall also needs to be a bit more aggressive at the UFC and try to make them realize that, because John Jones, whether he fights this or he doesn't, you know, either he has 0 fights left or 1 fight left. And that's it. And then the heavyweight division has nothing. You know, obviously Tom Aspinall's great, but Tom Aspinall needs an equal dance partner, and we've seen Cyril Gane fail both times against a title shot against Ngannou and John. So sure, a win over Cyril would be great, but does it really do much for the division or Tom Aspinall's career? No. So I think Tom Aspinall really's got to be like, hey man, get my career going, because I'm literally the only person you got at heavyweight. You know what I mean? Because let's say like Tom Aspinall wasn't there, are people really going to be considering Cyril Gane the champion if he's lost both times? You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Tom, you got to go a little harder, man. You got to put a bit more spite into your trash talk. You know what I mean? Because it's just not getting you anywhere. And yeah, no, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.